How do ghosts unlock doors with their spookies? Hey, shh. Welcome back to Not Another Needless Sequel, where we watch movies and propose unnecessary prequels, sequels, reboots, and remakes. My name is Kane. Today I have with me Kelsey.
It's showtime.
I'm not sure I liked it so much that we had to do a second take.
Old Beetlejuice.
This week we turned on the juice and saw what shook loose with 1988's Beetlejuice.
What an old man joke.
That was just a line. It wasn't a joke.
I know, I'm just saying.
What do you think the story was?
So, old Beetlejuice, that's how they spell his name. I just want everyone to know. Anyways, a married couple, Adam and Barbara, die in a car accident. Well, they technically drown. And then their ghosts are trapped in a house and they're trying to kick out the people who just moved into their home. And they enlist Beetlejuice's help.
And how? The studio originally wanted to call the film House Ghosts. And as a joke, Tim Burton suggested the name Scared Sheetless and was horrified when the studio actually considered using it.
Both of those titles are bad.
Do you think it would have sold worse had it been called one of those?
Yes. I think it sounds like those horror movies you like to watch sometimes. The Turkey Killer or the Gingerbread something. Isn't that?
Like a bad horror movie?
Yeah.
I think House Ghosts sounds like it's a play on one of the Scary movies.
Yeah. So does Scared Sheetless.
Scared Sheetless sounds like a far worse version.
Yeah, they're definitely not good. I guess my whole thing with this is I don't understand why it's spelled the way that it's spelled, and then...
Well, that's how it's spelled. It's pronounced Beetlejuice.
Yeah, but the spelling of the movie is Beetlejuice.
Because it would have been a fucking nightmare.
I understand, but I'm saying his name looks like Beetlejuice or Beetlegoose.
I think people wouldn't have gone to see it if it was...
I mean, I understand that. I just don't understand why the title of the movie is spelled different than Beetlejuice's name. That's all I'm saying.
His name is after a star.
Yes, but if the whole movie is about Beetlejuice, why is it spelled different?
Marketing. Remember when they had to change the entire movie theater fucking name from Harley Quinn's Birds of Prey? Like, they had to change it to just say Harley Quinn because people are that dumb.
I mean, I know, but at least it's spelled the same. I don't know. Listen, this isn't... I'm not willing to die on this hill. I'm just saying
Let's
it's weird.
debate it for the next 20 minutes.
God, I hope not.
Anyway, yeah, the Maitlands, Adam and Barbara Maitland, have this house. It's their dream house. There's this woman, Jane, that's trying to sell it. I thought she was super fucking rude to them.
I think it's their family. I think Jane is a family member of theirs, and she's trying to get them to sell it because she says that it's too big of a house for people without a family, meaning like they don't have kids. You get the idea that either they couldn't have kids or they maybe lost a child. I don't know.
No, they mentioned something about that he says, like, maybe we can try again on this vacation.
Oh, yeah,
because they're supposed to be on vacation for a few days.
Right before they die.
Yeah, so they get in a car crash. They drown in the water. They don't realize they're dead at first, but then they find a book. It's what was it called? It was the handbook for the recently deceased.
Yeah, and also they look into a mirror in their fireplace and can't see one another, or can't see their reflection.
Yeah, part of it is that they try and leave the house, and when they exit out the front door, they end up in Dune.
Yeah, they end up in Dune with the sandworms.
Yeah. So a new family moves into their house, and they're pissed about it because this is their dream home.
Well, they're not pissed that other people are moving in. They're pissed because the stepmom that moves in, Delia, they moved from New York City, and this we found out later on in the movie. It's like rural Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And she wants to bring her New York City style because she thinks that she's like famous or a good designer, an artist, and so she's trying to gut the entire house and completely redesign it, and they are upset because they've spent all of their time and money into making this house their dream home. And didn't want it to change.
I thought it was funny that meanwhile she's doing that, her husband Charles is just trying to relax. He just keeps being like, I just want to relax. Like, yeah. I don't want none of this.
Yeah, and then she wants to change everything. He goes, you can change whatever you want, just please don't change this room. And then they can't get into the attic because Barbara and Adam got up there and locked it from the inside, and there's no key.
Yeah, and so they are reading like the handbook to try and figure out what they can do to get him out of the house, and they don't really understand understand the handbook, which I thought was kind of weird. Like, the guy says, like, he read through and he just didn't get it, which they mention later that they couldn't have read through the whole thing. But they're trying to scare them out of there, but nobody can see them except for their daughter.
Yeah.
Which comes up a little later, but they mention that she can see them because she's a little weird.
Yeah.
Which I thought that they immediately, like, figured out that they can pull their skin off and behead themselves and just all this wild shit.
They draw a door and they go visit their caseworker on how to get the people out. And they mention, like, they've been seeing ads for somebody named Beetlejuice. And she said that they used to be partners and not to mention his name because he's dangerous. And that they have to scare them out on their own.
I didn't actually catch how they ever learned how to say his name. Like, they were reading it wrong at first, and he doesn't say it himself, and she stops them from saying it. They just kind of picked it up. But, you know, because they can't seem to scare them away, there's a scene where they put on these sheets and they're like walking around like moaning, and Lydia, she thinks it's her dad and stepmom, and she like goes over there and is banging on the wall, and she's like, keep it down. She takes pictures. She's like, keep that sex stuff in your room. But that's how she like interacts with them for the first time. Anyway, because they can't figure it out, they go to get Beetlejuice's help. And Beetlejuice, you know, being the title character, you'd think like he's going to be in a lot of the movie, but he's only in a total of 14 and a half minutes of the entire film.
Yeah, he's not in it a whole lot.
Yeah, which I think it worked out.
Yeah, he's tough to look at.
Well, Michael Keaton actually came up with like the look for him, but also he ad-libbed 90% of his lines.
I could see that.
Beetlejuice
says some wild stuff. At one point, the husband, Adam, has built this entire, like, sculpture of the city. And the way that they get to the graveyard to get to Beetlejuice, because they can't leave the house, is they use his sculpture, and they're digging up his sculpture to dig Beetlejuice out of the grave.
Yeah.
And so when Beetlejuice comes out of the grave, he starts saying some things, and he's, like, grabs his crotch and stuff. I don't know if you noticed that.
I remember when he says, he's like, nice model.
Yeah, and he grabs his crotch. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't really like him, like, when they try and get his help, and so they end up not wanting to make a deal with him, and they're just like, never mind, like, we'll figure it out. And they try and do this, like, scare everybody when they're having, like, this house party, and so there's, you know, the scene of them having this little dinner, and they are basically, like, possessed to all sing Deo, and then they believe in ghosts, and none of them are afraid. They're all super excited about it. So Otho, who is, like, Delia's friend and designer, I don't know, he tries to perform a seance, but he accidentally is performing an exorcism, and so that leads them to pull Adam and Barbara from being ghosts and back into the real world, but they start like rapidly aging and dying, I guess. And so Lydia is trying to save them because Lydia and them have had like a nicer relationship, like she's the only one that can talk to them, and Lydia goes to Beetlejuice, asks for his help, but Beetlejuice will only do it if Lydia marries him, which, gross. You're like, yeah, she's a 30 child. And she's 15.
Yeah.
Which, granted, they don't play it as normal. They make him out to be like evil about
disgusting. Yeah. I guess my whole thing was, what was Beetlejuice's purpose?
I think he just wanted to come into the real world to just be able to like do chaos freely because he can't do it otherwise.
Yeah.
And so that's why he has those ads where he just wants people to like hire him.
It's almost like he was trapped before and they let him out.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he does seem trapped unless somebody says his name. And so Lydia does agree, and then, you know, he's able to save them, and then they're going to have the wedding, like Lydia and Beetlejuice. And it's, you know, basically, I guess, as soon as they say their I do's, he's free. And so they're trying to stop that. Adam and Barbara. Barbara ends up riding in a sandworm.
Yeah, I said I like that they defeated Beetlejuice with the sandworm, and then Dune stole it.
No, Dune was written first.
I know, but I'm just like,
I mean, that's what I thought when she rode in on the sandworm. Lisa
Nagaib. Yeah. Which, if you guys haven't, we did an episode on Dune, so.
Sure did. People fucking love to hate that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, after the wedding is ruined and Beetlejuice is sent back to the afterlife, like, he's just stuck.
He's not in purgatory anymore, it seems.
Well, he's in, like, that afterlife waiting room. Yeah. Like, where they were.
Waiting for the caseworker.
Yeah, so you see, like, that Lydia and her family are living in the house still, along with the Maitlands. They're all getting along now. And I thought it was kind of cute that, like, Adam and Barbara, like, found a daughter in Lydia.
Yeah, and both families started getting along. If she did good on exams, she gets to float and dance. And
Yeah, they, like, use their powers on her.
yeah, so it's all just, like, a big secret. They live with these two nice ghosts, basically.
Yeah, well, I thought it was really cute. According to Tim Burton, apparently it took a lot of time to convince cast members to sign on as they thought the script was too weird, which I did hear Michael Keaton say that he said no at least once because he just didn't get it, like when reading the script. And Gina Davis was the only cast member that committed to the project at first. Everybody else, like I said, they said no at least once. And oddly enough, sort of unrelated, but this film was the first DVD that Netflix ever sent out in 1998.
Wow, so that's 10 years after this movie came out? When did this movie come out? 88? Yeah.
Yes.
Wild. It was a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah, I rated it a 4 out of 5. Like, it's, it's just fun. Like, it's just a quick little, like, short, fun movie, I think. Like, it's fun to watch. It's not too deep.
It's comedically scary.
Yeah.
I didn't find it overly terrifying. It's a good, like, Halloween movie. I'd actually never seen the movie before this. I also gave it a 4 out of 5.
And you don't really like Tim Burton stuff.
Tim Burton films are not my favorite films. I typically rate them a little bit lower. My apologies to anybody who's a Tim Burton fan. Don't at me.
At her. She deserves it. She won't watch Frankenweenie.
Speaking of Frankenweenie, are we doing that on the pod in a few weeks?
I don't know.
I don't know what the schedule is.
Well, we'll get there.
Are we ready to play a game?
No, we don't say that anymore.
Because
it's not a game and everybody...
What's today's tip and theme?
What?
I don't know what we're calling it.
So saying Beetlejuice's name 3 times is dangerous, which made me think of Bloody Mary, which made me think maybe there's other games like Bloody Mary. There's really not. But I have 2 games for you that I'm going to describe to you and see if you can guess... or guess what's the theory on how they work.
Okay.
So Bloody Mary, if you don't know, is repeatedly chanting Bloody Mary into a mirror placed in a dimly lit room, and it's supposed to cause her to appear as a corpse, witch, or ghost, and it can either be friendly, evil, or demonic, and it's
Can you slow down and start over? I'm really trying to get this here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bloody Mary. So you repeatedly chant Bloody Mary into a mirror that's placed in a dimly lit room. When you do that, it will cause her to appear as either a corpse, a witch, or a ghost, and that entity can either be friendly, evil, or a demonic spirit.
Okay.
And is sometimes seen covered in blood. The lore surrounding the ritual states that participants may endure the apparition screaming at them, cursing them, strangling them, stealing their soul, drinking their blood, or scratching their eyes out. So, why do you think people believe they see something? Is it real? Is there something you can imagine?
Is the mirror stationary on the wall, or do they take in, like, mirror, mirror on the wall? Who's the fairest of them all?
I think most people do it with a stationary mirror, but I believe you can do it with a handheld mirror. It just needs to be in a dimly lit room.
I feel like it'd be hard to see in a mirror in a dimly lit room compared to, like, a brightly lit room.
Okay.
So maybe whatever you see, albeit it's probably not real, like your brain is pre-positioned or whatever to see something based on what your mood or how you're feeling is.
So pretty much, I mean, staring into a mirror in a dimly lit room for a prolonged period can cause one to hallucinate. Facial features may appear to melt in the dark. Yeah, if you just...
Wild.
I mean, I don't know how long it's
I never tried it, so...
So facial features may appear to melt, distort, disappear, and rotate, while other hallucinatory elements such as animals or strange faces may appear. Giovanni Caputo of the University of Urbino writes that this phenomenon, which he calls the strange face illusion, is believed to be a consequence of a dissociative identity effect, which causes the brain's facial recognition system to misfire in a currently unidentified way. Other possible explanations for the phenomenon include illusions attributed at least partially to the perceptual effect of Troxler's fading, which if you don't know what that is, you've probably seen it'll be like stare at this cross in the middle and there's circles all around the cross, and you stare at it long enough, then you look away and you like still see the image. That's what that is. And possibly apophenia or even self-hypnosis. That's the theory for why that works.
I didn't know that. Like I said, have you ever done it?
No, and that's the rest of the game. We're going to go play that right now.
Let's not.
Just kidding, that's not the rest of the game. Okay, the next one is light as a feather, stiff as a board. So for this one participant lays flat on the floor facing upwards. The other participants space themselves around that person, each placing 1 or 2 fingertips underneath the participant's limbs. The person closest to the head commonly begins by saying something like, "She's looking ill," which is repeated several times, and followed by, "She's looking worse," which is repeated several times. The general direction of the call and repeat describes how the person is looking worse and worse, followed by saying, "She is dying," and finally, "She is dead." All versions of the game end with the phrase, "light as a feather, stiff as a board," chanted by those standing around the dead player as they attempt to lift their companion's body using only their fingertips. After this, the person being lifted is described by the group as having become lighter or even completely weightless. So how do you think that works?
It causes the person to relax so much.
I think they're relaxing, being told they're dead.
Yeah.
This one's pretty simple. It's just everybody's lifting at the same time. If you do it exactly at the same time, then it's gonna feel lighter to you. Mm-hmm. If somebody doesn't do it at the same time, then...
But also, if you're saying, like, she is dead, that person is probably just relaxing, laying there as time passes, and then you don't have the other force coming from the other way being, like, afraid of being lifted.
Okay, well, let me describe it to you this way. Sometimes people play it by, instead of saying they're dead, they sit there and describe to you your death.
Oh.
You think you'd be relaxed then? You might be stiff.
No, I probably not.
Maybe the stiff part comes in, though, there. Yeah. Because if you're stiff enough, then people can, like, distribute your weight evenly.
That's what I'm saying. Interesting. You ever done that one?
No.
Let's not do it.
Well, we need more than 2 people.
No.
If I'm just...
Guess we'll never play.
If I'm just underneath you saying, "light as a feather, stiff as a board," and then I try and lift you with 2 fingers, like, I'm just gonna roll you over because I'm only on one side. You know?
Yeah.
I mean...
We could do it with Cosmo the podcast dog.
You want to lift him on our fingertips?
Yeah. He wouldn't sit still. Yeah.
So, this movie's box office success created plans for a sequel, Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
Oh, God.
A script was commissioned, and Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder both signed on to reprise their roles. Tim Burton lost interest in the project and went on to direct Batman and Batman Returns instead. But now, of course, Beetlejuice comes out this week, which I'm assuming did not use any of the plot of Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
I hope not.
But what's your sequel?
I forgot to type the rest of it, but it's Beetlejuice 2.
Electric Boogaloo?
Beetlejuice's Revenge.
Oh.
Get it? Like, what is it? Halloween Town 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the real name?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Yeah. So you just type Beetlejuice.
I know, I forgot to finish it because I was like, I know it's going to be Beetlejuice. Anyways, doesn't matter. It's a direct sequel. We said Lydia was 15 in this movie, so it's been a few years. Lydia's about to go off to college, and she thinks that the Maitlands are mad at her because she's planning on leaving, and she hasn't seen them in a few days since breaking the news to them. After going into their attic from not seeing them and trying to get in multiple times, she is unsuccessful until one day she uses the key to break in and finds them missing and everything's a mess. Turns out someone has kidnapped them, and then it flashes to show the Maitlands in purgatory. They have been trying to find a way out, but there's no way out. There's a countdown clock counting down, and they have 10 days to get out, or they're going to be into the room of the lost souls for eternity. You remember we saw that in the first movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Lydia starts putting clues together with her parents and reading more about where they could be in the book of the recently deceased. And she comes across how little time they actually have. She calls the one person that she never wanted to see again, Beetlejuice. He appears and agrees to help them, but says she has to sign a contract to marry him this time and then go with him after the Maitlands are found. With his help, they are found, but it turns out Beetlejuice is who took them as a revenge plot for tricking them before. As Lydia is subdued and time is expiring, it turns out it was Beetlejuice who took them as a revenge plot for tricking him before and getting him eaten by the sandworm. As Lydia is subdued and time is expiring, the old man from outside the store in the first movie, you remember him?
Yeah.
That he's talking to, he's died, but has been able to travel to the Maitlands because of the model that Adam has made. He was able to...
Yeah.
So anybody who dies in the town is able to travel like that. He helps fend off Beetlejuice to help Lydia free, and then the twist is that she tells Beetlejuice she only called him because she wants to help him and see the Maitlands sent to the Room of the Lost Souls for being so upset about college. Much to Barbara and Adam's dismay and the known gift they were preparing for her, she won't have it and suggests her and Beetlejuice marry in the Maitland's last moments as a last, F you, I guess. During the ceremony, it turns out she's tricked him from reading the book of the deceased and always suspected it was him who was trying to get back at Adam and Barbara. Adam and Barbara are released, and instead Beetlejuice is sent to the lost souls and trapped forever.
Nice.
And everyone goes home and celebrates Lydia going to college.
Well, it's better than mine.
Maybe not.
I did Ghostbusters versus Beetlejuice.
Oh, boo. Boo Ghostbusters. Boo.
We see Beetlejuice sulking after his defeat and reading a newspaper talking about the Ghostbusters struggling with a new ghost, and he thinks maybe this is his chance to get out. Beetlejuice seeks out this ghost that has been battling the Ghostbusters, known only as the Evil Entity.
Ooh.
Upon meeting him, he strikes up a deal with the Evil Entity that if he can scare the Ghostbusters into quitting their jobs, he will help Beetlejuice return to the mortal world. Beetlejuice makes every attempt to scare them, but is unable to make them budge, so being a con man, he decides to fake one of their deaths and present it to the entity as an even better reward. The entity sees through this and punishes Beetlejuice by sending him back to the afterlife waiting room. The entity, meanwhile, has begun to win against the Ghostbusters and is promising to take over the world. The Ghostbusters recruit a group of mystery-solving kids and their dog who claim to have battled the entity before.
You didn't say anything about Scooby-Doo.
It's a secret three-way crossover.
Oh my gosh.
This ghost is also from Mystery Incorporated. It's one of the animated shows.
Oh, okay. Okay.
When the gang's old tricks don't help the Ghostbusters, they decide to get help from Beetlejuice. After all his time spent trying to scare the Ghostbusters, they realize how powerful he is, but his chaotic mind gets in the way. They summon Beetlejuice once more and give him every ghost artifact Mystery Inc. and the Ghostbusters have collected over the years to make him more powerful, and together the entire group is able to defeat the entity. And in return for Beetlejuice's help, they allow him to join the Ghostbusters as long as he focuses his powers on other ghosts and not humans.
How well will that work?
I gave him a redemption. That's all. I mean, it'll work.
I liked it.
He just cares about being chaotic.
I liked it. It was good.
Do you like the secret Scooby-Doo?
I did like the Scooby-Doo reveal, actually.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. We do so appreciate it. If you want to talk movies with us, you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads, and Twitter. We are NansPod everywhere.
NansPod?
If you'd like to vote on whose sequel idea was the best, come by our YouTube channel for the polls, or let us know your idea across our socials with a comment, tweet, or you can reach us at needlesssequel@gmail.com. Links, as always, will be wherever you are listening. If you wouldn't mind, share a show with someone, leave us a review, and come back for more. We would love to have you and hear what we can do to improve. Next week, we're watching Total Recall on Paramount+. All right, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week, and remember, never trust the living.
Bye!